Hello, my name is Jennifer Fernay, and I'm here presenting for technology and about our school district, Muhlenberg. Should teachers expect students to take home their Chromebooks, and what are other ways our district can implement computers and technology? So just a little bit about our school. It's Muhlenberg School District, which is in Pennsylvania, in Berks County, which is a little bit outside of Philadelphia. We are the second poorest school in the county next to Reading, and many students cannot afford to replace or pay for repairs of the computer. A waiver was sent out to students so that parents can choose to purchase insurance, and an additional waiver was sent to parents to choose that they accept their child bringing home their Chromebook every day.
You say that Muhlenberg is the second poorest school in the county. What are the demographics like at Muhlenberg?
The demographics are primarily 40% Caucasian and 60% Latino, whereas in Reading School District, which is the poorest school in the county, it's 98% Latino and 1% Caucasian, and then the other Asian and Island Pacificer. Any other questions?
For the insurance, what's that for? Like, how does that work?
So the insurance is what we use for, as a way for students to be able to pay a very small fee for if they damage their computers. So they just have to pay $10 per month for insurance. And then if something catastrophic happens to their computer, they don't have to pay for a new one, which would be a lot more money.
Okay. And what are other schools in the county doing with technology?
Some are using Chromebooks, others, the more wealthier ones, use iPads. And this is actually our first year that we're implementing Chromebooks into our district.
Interesting.
Okay, so this is a picture of what some of the living situations look like in the districts. A lot of students are very poor. Many of them just failed to bring their paperwork home. And the question is should teachers teach expecting their child to bring home their Chromebook each evening? I know I do. In math class, which is what I teach, the curriculum is completely online. The homework is online, and I assign the homework each evening expecting that the students go home and complete it online. However, they do have time, the way the middle school is set up, that they have an hour every morning to like catch up on homework and to have time to get math help if they're struggling or tutoring. So they have that extra time during each morning in the middle school to use that time to catch up on homework if they can't bring their Chromebook home, and most of them do. Use that time wisely. Paper copies are made for students who cannot bring their Chromebooks home. And the thing about the paper copies are that they miss out on instantaneous feedback. So on the curriculum that they have, we use Pearson, and it's a program completely online. And have has anybody ever heard of MathLab?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
So it's kind of like self-paced learning so that they can learn at their own speed. And if they get a question wrong, they can view, like at home, there's like a built-in tutor to help them learn the math problems. So if they get a paper copy, then they're missing out on that. Currently, 30% of our students don't take their computer home, and it's really just because they didn't fill out the paperwork. So the question that I'm asking is, should the school just let all students bring their Chromebooks home so that these students don't miss out on learning? Or should we just keep on relying on this hour intervention period in the beginning of school for students to do the work that they should be doing at home? Because this intervention time is taking away from the classroom.
I don't necessarily think it's a good idea for the school to forego the some kind of a form or something that holds the students accountable for the Chromebooks. I don't think they can just have all the students taking their Chromebooks home. Do most students treat their Chromebooks with care?
They do. This is our first year rolling this out, and I thought it was going to go a lot worse with students breaking their computers. But I think since they know that, since a lot of them don't have insurance, I think a lot of them know how much money it's going to cost if they break the Chromebooks. So they actually treat their Chromebooks pretty well, a lot better than I initially thought for middle school.
So you haven't had any issues with the Chromebooks?
I actually haven't. I mean, the only thing that I saw, somebody's button was out, but I was able to actually just snap it back into place. So, no, there's actually not really a lot of damage that takes place.
So do you think the reason they don't fill out the paperwork is because they have to pay for this insurance?
Well, they don't have to. They can. So they either opt in or out of the insurance. So that's completely separate of taking it home. Even if they opt out of the insurance, they can still take their Chromebook home. But if they didn't fill out the paperwork, that was the parents just had to write, yes, my student is allowed to take their Chromebook home, separate of the insurance. They had a separate form that just stated that they were allowed to take their Chromebook home, and students just failed to give it to their parents, and the parents failed to return it to the school. So those students aren't 30% of our student population. Of those students are not allowed to take their Chromebooks home at all, just because they didn't fill out the paperwork.
But if they took it home and something happened to it, they'd be liable for the damages?
If they did not have the insurance.
Right. But, it's a poor school, so it kind of makes sense in a way that they choose not to afford it or can't afford the insurance, and then bringing it home would be an even greater risk to additional costs that they don't want to incur.
Yes, I agree with that. Okay, for moving along, what else can we use Chromebooks for? We can use it for tutoring, maybe possibly getting a learning management system on there. Some other questions are, how can teachers and schools get around students not being able to bring their Chromebooks home? Can schools enforce and help pay for internet for students? Or maybe we can create an alliance or some sort of agreement with cyber schools. What are your thoughts for that? Yes.
I mean, I don't have any other ideas for ways to use the Chromebooks because I don't really have any experience using them. But, as far as the question, can schools enforce and help pay for internet for students, it seems to me, and especially probably with Muhlenberg School District, they don't really have much funding to begin with. So, to pay for their insurance, maybe that's what you're proposing, to pay for their insurance might not be affordable for the school. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what our budget looks like. I know that we're spending a lot of money on Chromebooks, but I'm just not really sure what, I'm not an expert in the financials, so I think it's just a question for possibly our administration. But I mean, being that we're a poor district, I'm guessing that I think you're right. I don't think that we're going to be able to help them pay for it. Although that would be nice if we could get there someday. I guess it's just kind of like a wait and see in the future kind of thing. If Chromebooks, if we can, if our students do continue to take good care of them and they don't need to be replaced, then maybe it's something that we can look for in the future. Oh. All right. Any other questions about technology? Okay, then if there's no more questions, then I'm going to wrap this up, and thank you for watching this presentation.